What's good, Wager World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. In here with my co-host, my guy, the one of many Sacramento Kings fans that I know now. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this morning, man?
Man, I still might be the only one because every time a huge bet gets placed, everyone DMs me. Is this you? Is this you?
You saw my boy, he tagged you today
Yeah.
like this spread get a part of this Kings momentum, the third place. He should have got that ticket because some guy has a huge ticket on them to win the NBA championship, probably some millionaire from your area. You know, it's a lot of money
Yeah.
around the Sacramento area. So some guy who probably does it every year, and he might finally get a payoff this year, man, because the Kings look good. And I really like how they played against the Warriors this year. And, you know, that's probably going to be their main um, team that they'll have to face to try to get to, where they're trying to go with the finals and everything. Also, you got, of course, watch the Grizzlies. I love that Grizzlies team. How did you guys match up with the Grizzlies? I didn't watch the game when you guys played them.
I missed that one as well. I don't know how well we match up with them because they're deep and they play better defense than us. And
I know
Morant.
you beat them, though. Remember Malik
Yeah.
Monk with the free throws?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I still worry about that in a 7-game series. The thing is, there's one thing to win in the regular season, but to win those 7 games takes some
Yeah.
experience. So, but we'll
Definitely.
just enjoy it for what it is.
That's the difference between basketball that most people speak about. You know, football is finality, man. Anybody can win any given Sunday,
Yeah.
any given Saturday. And the NBA, man, and Major League Baseball set it up to make it where the better team is going to win by being a series. We're going to get to a couple DMs, man. I'm gonna start answering a couple DMs when guys DM us with different questions because we really appreciate those who follow the show. The first one is my guy Jetter. He's out of Omaha, Nebraska, man. He's a faithful listener and follower, man. He watches the show every week, man. And he DM'd me a question for both of us, Spread. Who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan? I already know who you're going to say. I'm going to listen to you.
I'm gonna be quick on this one. We'll get into it more. It's funny. He did the same thing, and I said I don't got time to do it all tonight. Let me give it time when I have more time to be on my phone. But to me, it's Jordan all day. I mean, the only thing that LeBron I would have on him, if you want to argue, is the longevity, right? What he's doing right now at age 37, and he shows no signs of slowing down. But you just take the peak. I mean, Jordan felt unbeatable at that point. And what frustrates me about the conversation, the only people who say LeBron are the people who didn't see Jordan play. Right. So I watched them both. Now, for example, next week we're going to have Coach Goodman on, right? Now, if Coach Goodman tells me Kareem in his prime was better than Jordan, I got to listen to him because I didn't see Kareem in his prime. I saw Kareem right at the end when he's just doing sky hooks, right? Averaging 14 points a game, towards the end of his career. So that's what frustrates me. I don't think anyone who watched them both play is going to take LeBron over Jordan simply because Jordan was the defensive menace and he never quit on the defensive end. He was getting all defensive players of the year still towards the end of his career. LeBron at this point, I'm not trying to take anything from what he's saying. He's still, probably a top 5 player in the league, but it's all offense at this point. He's stat padding. And look at Jordan. He was averaging 33 points a game in the finals, and his team was averaging like 90. Right. He was putting up 30, 35 points a game when the scores were under 100 all the time. So to me, it's always going to be Jordan. You can't change my mind, but I understand where other people are coming from. What do you think?
I'm going to show my age right here. I watched Michael Jordan lose to the Detroit Pistons all of the time. I watched him lose to the Boston Celtics all the time. I was in elementary, and I used to be the kid who was like, man, Jordan's good, and everybody liked Magic Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So Jordan did not have the instant success in the league that LeBron had. LeBron is one of the few guys who, from day one when he stepped in the league, he had success, and he also had a lot more on his back coming in with him being on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school and stuff. He was the chosen one so early. I think LeBron has lived up to all of the billing and all of the hype and press that he's gotten his whole career. In my opinion, they're 1A and 1B. And the reason why is because of this. It's a lot of things on the court that LeBron did better than Michael Jordan. First of all, he was a better teammate than Michael Jordan ever was. In that era, as you said, it was all about ISO and about self, and he passed that to Kobe. LeBron is the one who brought the Euro style. Everyone play together, brought back the Magic Johnson team basketball to the NBA, and now everyone plays it. And that's one thing that people do not commend LeBron enough on. He's always been a pass first player. He's always been about the team guy. He's always got stats and assists, rebounds, and he in his prime he was a great defender in his prime. And I'm always take 6'9", 240 with ball handling skills, passing, rebounding, and I can shoot the three over 6'6". Michael Jordan would be a pretty average sized player in today's game. Whereas when we were watching him when we was young, he was one of the biggest guards in the league. So it's about time. They both just deserve their roses. They're both all-time greats. They're just different guys. I more put LeBron in the class with Magic Johnson, than as a scorer. And still, with that said, his longevity and his commitment to his body has allowed him to be able to about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time scorer, and he never was a scorer. I like LeBron's approach to the game better than I liked Michael Jordan, and I've seen both play. So
let's just say they have that silly thing though, right? Your life's on the line. You get to pick your bunch of players. You got the number one pick. Your life's on the line. Who are you picking? I'm taking Jordan all day. I'm
taking Kobe.
The best competitor.
I'm taking Kobe. I'm a Kobe guy. We'll talk about that more. So hopefully we answered that a little bit, Jenna. We did no better than the national talk shows because there's really no right answer, man. They're both great. And also we got Taylor Lawyer out of Houston, man. He always DMs me. He's always watching the show and following. He wants to know what's the difference between a round robin and a parlay. Spread, give it to him real quick.
All right. So a round robin, it basically takes all your bets and I'm not going to explain this that well. It makes them one less, right? So if you took a 4-team parlay, it would make also three different three-team parlays. So the idea is you could get 3 out of 4 and you would still win. A parlay, you got to be 100% or you don't lose. So the round robin works when you have a bunch of teams that you really like, but like, hey, I'm not all these 7 are going to win, right? But 6 of the 7 are probably going to go there. So a round robin means you can still lose one and win the bet. Your payout's going to be a lot less though. So the parlay, you got to go 100%, 7 for 7, 4 for 4, whatever you place.
Yeah, it's basically this, guys. A round robin is insurance. That way you don't get all your money back, but at least you protect some of your investment, and that's kind of a good thing. I'm not a big round robin guy. I know a lot of guys who are very successful with it. I like to do them mostly when I'm going with underdogs. If I got some high money lines and I throw them together, because basically, like Spread said, if you had a 4-team, that would be a 14 parlay would pay 1 to 11. Or 11 to 1, excuse me, which would pay like $100 will win you $1,100. If you have it as a round robin, it breaks that down into now you have 4 bets. You have a 2 2-teamers and 2 3-teamers out the 4 games, but it does lessness. So if you're betting that same $100, it turns to $25 2-teamer, a $25 3-legger. So the payout is going to be a little bit less, but round robins are smart. They are for people who are betting long term and want to insure their money. All right, we got a special guest on here today, man. Coming in, a former professional football player. He was drafted by the Miami Dolphins in 2004. He also played for the Cleveland Browns, Arizona Cardinals, and the San Diego Chargers. He's close to heart with me because I'm a big UH guy. My brother's alumni, and he was a star at the University of Houston. The show wants to welcome Rex Hadnot.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
How you doing, Rex? How you doing, man?
It's all good. Spread Astaire, 5 Vegas. Thank you for having us on today.
Yes, for sure, man. Rex and I have a common friend. He watched the show. He liked what we were doing, and he reached out, and we've been in touch with each other. And we can't wait to get some of his insight as a former professional football player about what's going on right now and what's coming up with these playoffs. Rex, tell me this: what was the difference between the locker room regular season to the playoffs? What's the biggest difference in guys' attitude in the locker room during the postseason?
Yeah, we're gonna shout out to the other half of Trenches Live, Curtis Bolden, for putting this thing on and giving us a chance to get on here and speak with you guys. But being around guys that have gone on to win championships, be around just successful players, you can just tell that the intensity and the attention to detail was extremely heightened in those situations. And those guys performed well because that's how they had applied their game to their game on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Okay. And another thing. Okay. So I saw you play for 4 different teams. How does the process go when you're in a contract season? How do you approach it as an athlete? Because we know what's going on with Lamar Jackson and everything. Is it protect myself, make sure that I don't get injured, or do I give my all to the team and live with the consequences when you're dealing with your own money? Because we know that football is a business. What was your approach leading into contract seasons?
Honestly, I had a very uninformed approach. So, hindsight, right, is a blessing to have. And like you said, you'll give me a chance to speak on our program. That's something that we definitely try to orate to our guys that are playing currently. Just be as informed as possible. So, with that being said, I think Lamar and other guys do a great job of getting information on their own situation and scenario. Some guys, like I played for the love of the game, so the money was never a something that I was chasing or coveting. So God
Right.
bless me, and I was able to have the type of longevity that afforded me things beyond just being on the field. So, I think what Lamar doing is smart. Was very smart. I think RG3 kind of confirmed that or did affirm that with his
Yeah.
same injury, being able to reach out to him and give his perspective. So I
Yeah.
think it's just with it being business, you got to look out for self, but self has to be well informed.
No doubt, no doubt. And you're an economics major, so I'm sure that we need to listen to you when it comes to those type of things. I didn't know that you were teammates with the late Terrence Kill. Robert is my good friend, is his brother.
Yeah, God bless it. Yeah, I probably got one of the more successful senior classes, especially when it comes to football. He and I were both drafted, but Don Muehlbach had the longest tenure out of our senior class, the long time snapper for the Detroit Lions. But yeah, that's the home team, TK.
Yeah.
God
Man,
bless.
TK, God bless his soul. That was my guy, man. His brother still chop it up every time I'm in Houston, man. Me and his brother go back a long, long way, man. And that was really sad what happened to Terrence. He was a really good player for the Chargers. What questions do you have for Rex, Spread?
The first one I want to ask him about is how is an NFL road trip, right? We talked about this before, 5-star. And I was always under the impression, right, that the basketball players, they have a great time on these road trips, but the NFL players, they treat it like business. How are the road trips for NFL players? Are they getting out and are they having fun on the Saturday night before the game, or is it all business?
A lot of times it depends on coaching staff. It depends on organization. It's going to be up to the discretion of those individuals that are in leadership. I can tell you this is if you ever been on a college official visit with the amount of catering that gets done to you, the access that you have, it's similar to that type of atmosphere.
So it's pretty loose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's pretty loose. What else, Spread?
Preparation. They always talk about when I hear other handicappers talk about motivation in the NFL. Sometimes I wonder, how, like for example, tennis. You can tell me motivation, okay, because it's one player. But NFL, 53 different guys, right? Obviously, different people are going to be different ways. Did it get more lax on a week when you're playing a weaker team? So like this year, right, if you're going against like the Texans or the Colts, would things be a little lax around there, or were players up for every week no matter what?
Okay, so that's why I'm going to add depth to the content of sports betting. Like you said, it's 53 individual guys. And so each one of those mindsets have to be on one accord. So with that being said, you got to really know the guy next to you beyond just practice. So you got to know if guys having issues. I mean, it just dives deep into it. So the motivating factors can be a form of false emotion, false enthusiasm. So you can hide that occasionally. So I think that's an interesting question because again, you deal with the psychological and social effects of the guys and their feelings. So I guess that's why I'm not having a lot of economic success in the wagering world because I don't know.
Right, right. Okay, tell us a little bit about your program that you and my guy Curtis Bolden started. Curtis is a good friend of mine, man. Me and Kurt go back so many years. He's a really close friend, one of my close in circle guys. Love him to death, man. Love his kids, love his wife, man. And you guys both college athletes. Both you guys played on the line. He played on the defensive line, and he played offensive line in high school, but he played defensive line in college. You played on the offensive line. I see you guys started a great program live from the trenches that's concentrating on teaching skills to young linemen who are trying to learn the game and trying to get to the next level and also beyond the football field. Tell people a little bit about your program.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, yeah, Curtis, outstanding guy. God bless. They've seen him just continue to grow, him and his family, since us reuniting. Like you said, we were once represented by the same agent early on in our both of our professional careers. And so, with me being in Houston at the University of Houston, and Curtis being from here, God put us right back in each other's arena. So, since then, like you said, we've been informing the youth on various topics. Curtis actually is operating a nonprofit, AFAC, Athletes for a Cause. And in some of the teachings of AFAC, I was able to gather some principle and apply it to my life. And then it birthed with Curtis this Live from the Trenches brand. And again, we do community service, and a part of it is training, like you said, linemen, which both of us have expertise in, having played at all levels. So we've been able to fundamentally come up with a science in behind improving the O-line and D-line behavior. Right now, I guess you could say D-line is ahead, sacks going up. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
yeah, we've been able to really impact some guys as individuals and families, and in turn, we want to help the community, which the Sunnyside and surrounding areas, my hometown of Lufkin, and just areas where these young guys are continue to grow and be developed by their impact. So, yeah, we've been operating for about going on around 10 years now. And like I said, we have some guys that are currently playing at all levels. And thanks for, again, the shout out, you and Spread Astaire, for having us on.
For sure, Rex. And I was a part of AFAX when I lived in Houston. I helped Kurt and his uncle with athletes. I actually was the Malik Hornsby's quarterback coach when he first joined the program. He's in the transfer portal now, but he was at University of Arkansas last year. So I dealt with all the quarterbacks in AFAX. I was the offensive coordinator when we played our spring game. So I'm very familiar with the program, and I love those guys, and I love that everything they're doing for the community. And I really that's one of the things I miss most about having to move here from my career to Las Vegas is being able to affect young people's lives in Houston on that southeast and southwest side where I'm from. You just said about the sacks. I'm hearing a lot of older offensive linemen and retired offensive linemen speak about how the NFLPA has affected offensive line play, and that's why line play isn't as strong as it used to be. They just aren't hitting enough and practicing enough. What do you think about that?
If anybody say you're not hitting enough in football practice, they are losing their mind. It's a contact sport, so there's no way to get around from it. I think the best way to remedy the sacks going up is to teach better technique, and that's something that if anybody goes to our page, we talk about certain techniques right now that are outdated. The offensive line is one of the least developed and evolutionized positions over the course of the game. The receiver went from hand down to hand up, and other positions have had scenarios or specifics where they've evolved. But offensive line play, you still see guys with that leg kick back and giving you the direction of where they're going. So we've been able to, like I said, come up with a science, Curtis and I, and we stand behind it, in front of it, on it. But I think those guys, again, that's just a poorly constructed conversation about the physicality of the game, especially in practice, because it's not really necessary. The show is for the game, for Sundays and Mondays. So there were various other ways to simulate the contact without having to go through that and improve the game.
Man, we really appreciate your perspective on all this stuff, man. We're gonna have you on often, man. Next week we have on another guest, but the following week, when we prepare for the Super Bowl, we definitely want to bring you back on, Rex. We're gonna have a really detailed show that week, and I really want you to come in and give us some of your insight on as a former professional football player. Where can people go find you and also find the program?
The program, we're all under one accord at Trenches Live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At Trenches Live, DMs is open. Let's get it popping. Again, thank you guys for having us on, man. I got to get some AFAC gear out to you guys. I got some great backdrops, you know what I'm saying? Places that look very interesting. So I got to get some apparel out to you guys. But thanks for having us on, and we look forward to the next opportunity.
Hey, I can't wait to talk to you, Rex. And early birthday to you, man. My wife's birthday is actually tomorrow, and I see that yours is next week, man. So early happy birthday to you if I don't talk to you before your birthday.
Yeah, God bless you, man. I appreciate that, man. You got some good people around you in that January, bro.
Yep, that's right. Good people, good Capricorns. I'm a Virgo, so Virgos and Capricorns, we automatically click, man. Hey, man. We'll talk to you very soon. And once again, we appreciate you for coming on. Once again, guys, that's former professional NFL player Rex Hadnot, former star at the University of Houston. And you guys go check out his program Live from the Trenches at all of the places he just told you to go look it up, positively affecting the inner city of Houston.
Yeah, one more thing, 5-star folks. Athletes for a Cause is AFAC, Athletes for a Cause. And Malik is at Texas State, so we're gonna be looking forward to seeing you. We can take.
That's where he's going. That's where he's going. He's locked in, so he's going over there to what's that coach over there name, man? I know
GJ Kenny.
GJ Kenny. We just talked about. Remember, Spread? I just was talking about him when they played because he was coaching Incarnate Word.
Correct. Yes,
he's a hell of a coach. Malik is about to do numbers with him. We'll talk off air about that, man. I'll be in touch.
All right, peace.
Okay, brother. Great to have Rex on, man. We're gonna have him on often.
Yeah, man. We got to do that again. I got some more questions for him next time, but we'll space them out.
Yeah, definitely for sure, man. Let's jump into the pass real quick, Spread.
All right, the pass. Let's jump on in. We had an exciting weekend in the National Football League. The Seahawks were +10 at the San Francisco 49ers. Looked pretty good in the first half, right? They got off to a slow start. They came back. I think they had a 1-point lead going into halftime. But then the 49ers turned on the Jets and the Seahawks couldn't keep up. I felt the 49ers were fairly fortunate. We've had storms here for the past 2 to 3 weeks, right? But they had a dry, sunny day. And I think if it would have been kind of like it was the whole week before, Seahawks would have had a better chance, right? If it would have been money, you take away some of the cutting ability, right? Cut down on just the talent and speed advantage that the 49ers had. But it was a clear day, and those weapons were just too much for them. San Francisco 49ers looking pretty good going into this weekend's matchup.
Man, I apologize to the viewers for not giving you guys first half because originally that was my pick, and I ended up going full game because of the elements, and it ended up stopped raining.
Yeah, and the only time it stopped raining all week.
Oh, the whole time it's been raining. It stopped raining during the game, and it was able to let the Niners get loose in the second half. But this was another one. We always talk about bad beat, bad break, bad handicap. This was a bad beat, man, and it all started from Geno Smith's turnover. If you go back to the end of the third quarter before this game blew wide open, Geno Smith was driving down 6 points, and they were in the red zone, maybe about to take the lead in the game. Metcalf and Lockett had been doing anything they wanted against the secondary. Great play by the San Francisco 49ers defense. They stripped Geno. He's always had problems with ball protection, man, in the pocket. goes back and it haunts him again, and he fumbles the ball, and the game just snowballed after that. It just it because now imagine if they score even 3 points, the pressure's completely different on this rookie quarterback, Brock Purdy. He was able to play carefree with a 6 point lead. They're hyped because of the turnover, and after that we saw them turn it on. And like I told you guys before, Brock Purdy can play, man. He made some great plays in the red zone. He's actually gave that offense a boost that Jimmy G did not. So regardless of the outcome this weekend, I think Brock Purdy's probably the quarterback moving forward for the 49ers.
I don't see how you don't let him keep the job. I mean, barring something, terrible happening, but the kid's got confidence, he got moxie, and he works well in the system because you need to be able to run those bootlegs, right? And I think that was the idea in bringing Trey Lance there, but you watch him on the move, but he's not a runner. He's moving to gain time to find his guys downfield. And in that offense, a dump off can be an explosive play because you're dumping it off to Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, or Deebo Samuel, right? And the one thing that can be said for him still is I'm not sure that he can succeed in every single system, right? Maybe when he becomes a free agent in a couple of years. He has more throws to people with 5 yards of separation than any quarterback in the NFL in the games that he's played. But hey, let's not take that away from him, right? It's just like when a team goes on a run against a bunch of bad teams. Well, you can only play the people on your schedule. It's not like, oh, I need to prove Purdy's good, I'm going to drop worse plays. So in this system, I mean, he's fantastic. And, of course, we'll be breaking down their upcoming game this weekend against the Dallas Cowboys. But I got to ask you, the next game we're going to talk about is the Chargers. They took on the Jaguars. Did you watch the whole game?
Every play. I watched every play.
The NBA at halftime, and I'm going through my score app, and somewhere through the third quarter, I said, all right, I think this deserves a TV, right? Because, I got the two TV set up. I said, this game's over. I got NBA action going. Let me check that out. And I flipped over, and these guys pulled it off. And I know you're going to talk about Brandon Staley in the extra point. So the Chargers slander is necessary, and it's coming. But for now, let's just give some effusive praise to the Jacksonville Jaguars because, as much as all the mistakes they made, when your opponent makes a mistake, you still have to take advantage of it, right? Just like in boxing, if your opponent drops his hands, if you don't knock that in there, you're not taking advantage of the mistake, right? So give the Jaguars credit for taking advantage of the mistake. Give Trevor Lawrence credit for maintaining his confidence after a Nathan Peterman-like first quarter. I mean, he could have easily, just put his head in his hands, not rallied the team. He stayed confident. He trusted his guys, and they get the win. So congratulations to the Jaguars. How much was that? Was the Jaguars winning or the Chargers losing? Right? That's the chicken or the egg question.
I really respect that Doug Peterson. You know how much I love Doug Peterson. Not only he's from my family's hometown in Monroe, Louisiana. Not only are we alumni from the same school, Washita Parish High School. Not only did I play with his brother Dave, I love the way he coaches. That's why we took the Chargers first half. I kind of already saw how this game was going to go. We hit the Chargers hard first half, and we hit the Jags second half.
So dramatic, right?
Not dramatic, but we've seen Jacksonville all season fight back in the second half. How many comebacks have the Jacksonville had in the second half this season? I know you remember the Cowboys game. They were down the same way in that game. Jacksonville has fight in them, and it all starts with their leadership with Doug Peterson and their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, living up to the hype. He's better than Justin Herbert. I don't want to hear it. I know Justin Herbert is good looking. I know he can throw a ball a country mile. I know he's fast. I know he's all of these things. But just like he said, I want Brandon Staley to come back. He's that type of guy. Sometimes I don't know if he has the attitude for this game because he should have been cussing and fussing on that sideline in the second half. Him or Staley, neither one of them said anything. They just sit back and let things go. Let's be honest now. We know that I'm not a fan of Manuel Ocho. He says a lot of dumb stuff, but he's really been tough on Justin Herbert. He's called him the internet quarterback, the social media quarterback. And it's time to kind of look at what he's saying because this guy gets a lot of more hype for doing nothing than I've ever seen. During this game, do you understand that they only had 18-yard touchdown drive was their longest drive because the defense had 4 turnovers in the first half, and they also had a special teams turnover. They didn't move the ball jack in this game, and nobody's talking about Justin Herbert. And they fired Lombardi like it was his fault, and all he did was send in the plays and call some good plays, and they didn't execute. Second half, they didn't do anything. Defense fell apart. But how many times have we seen this before from the Chargers? The moment they missed that field goal that would have made the game, made them have, I think, 30-7 is when I knew it was on. I knew that it was only a matter of time. It seems like every Charger um, uh, debacle like this starts with a missed field goal. So after they missed the field goal from Dicker the kicker from University of Texas, who had been money all year, I say, man, the Chargers curse is on them. So it went like we expected with the Chargers winning the first half. Staley always comes out with a good game plan. He's a smart dude. He's just, as we talked about, are you a coordinator or are you a head coach?
Yeah, and we'll be getting more into Brandon Staley in a bit. The Giants get the upset over the Vikings. Not necessarily like this huge, crazy upset. You know, a lot of people did like the Giants this week. Vikings, man, you know, hey, you want to bring in an offensive coordinator, and that's great. The offense looks good, but I really think that defense fell under Zimmer. To be fair, the defense was really bad under Mike Zimmer the year after he got fired, but he was missing like 5 of his best 11 players, you know, and they got some of those guys back, and I think that the team lacked the toughness, and we talked about coordinator or head coach, right? I think they could have done a lot better on the defensive end with the talent they had. They have no reason being that bad and no reason losing to a team at home that really has little to no wide receiver talent. So, you know, I thought that was a disappointing loss for the Vikings after such, you know, an uplifting season for them where they finally took the NFC North crown from the Packers. But it ends on a sour note for the Vikings. Once again, we don't just want to, you know, slander the bad teams. We want to talk good about the teams. Brian Daboll proved that he's a fantastic coach, and I talk a little more about Daboll when we start talking about the Bills too, because you know what, I skipped the Bills game, but we'll be quick on that. Let's talk about the Giants Vikings. We went out of order, excuse me.
No, it's no order. Yeah,
Giants Vikings. You know, hey, Giants get the win. Daboll, you know, not only is he a good play caller, but he's a good coach too, and I think that matters.
He's the real deal, man. And the Chargers had a shot at him. Just imagine if he would have coached that Chargers team with all that talent over there. My goodness. Daboll is just a G, man. He's one of those guys, man. You know, we've been watching football a long time. You know when you got a real head coach. You see him, you can hear when he's speaking at the podium, you know it. And he's that guy. When he steps into the room, he's that guy. The players are going to listen to him. They know he knows what he's talking about. And he draws up great game plans. What he's done with Daniel Jones is the same thing he did with Josh Allen. He's taken a wild stallion and he's turned him into a racehorse. And now Daniel Jones is in complete control of that playbook. And their receivers aren't bad. They're just not known. Hodges is catching on lately, but he was a beast at Virginia Tech. I remember him. He was one of the better players in the ACC when he was there. He played tight end, actually, in college. Now he's playing wide out for the Giants. Couple too many drops from guys like Richie James. Darius Slayton drops the ball too much, too. He had a play that he dropped one pass that could have sealed the game where they wouldn't even had to stop the Vikings at the end. But this goes back with the Giants for me. Ownership. As long as we've been alive, Spread, the Marr family has ran business one way and one way only with the Giants, and it continues to work. It's never stopped working. As long as they have that right coach in place, it always works. They get a sound quarterback, they get a superstar running back, they get a great defense, and they hire great coaches. They've always been like that ever since they had Parcells and Belichick. It's been the same formula. And they're doing it again. A bunch of no-name receivers. Name one of the receivers from Eli Manning. What, Mario Manningham? My guy, David Tyree. The only star was Plexico. Plexico Burris was probably the only star that's ever came through there really at wide receiver. Those guys have a great formula. Kudos to Giants ownership for continuing to push excellence, man, and their formula continues to work even now in 2022.
Yeah, so great win for them. Went out of order, but I think it's nice because really, everyone saw the game, exciting game. Great job for Miami to cover against a divisional opponent. I don't think they can hang their heads in that performance. But the question that I was left asking is how much does Josh Allen miss Brian Daboll? Are some of those bad habits that we criticized him for in those first couple seasons, or maybe why he wasn't highly recruited out of Wyoming, coming back to roost without Daboll kind of keeping him on track, calling plays that don't give him the opportunity to make those bad decisions, right? Because he's a gunslinger, right? He's Brett Favre. But in this new era where turnovers mean so much, you could be a gunslinger back when Brett Favre played because the defenses had a chance, right? Nowadays, these defenses don't have a chance. Defenses know, hey, 20-20, these guys are moving the ball. We got to be good in the red zone and we got to force turnovers. So if you're going to give them turnovers, that's huge in the new way that football is played. Credit to the Bills for winning. Credit to Miami for making that a fun, close game because I was worried that they were going to get blown out the box and it wasn't going to be worth watching. What do you think of Josh Allen, though, and missing Brian Daboll? And do you think that's going to come home to roost next week?
We did really good on this game. I told you the Dolphins were going to stay in this game. Division rivalry, and then they have one of the better coaches in the league. As I always say, I always tweet, coaching is everything. He's definitely missing Daboll because now he has the former Miami quarterback as his head coach.
Ken Dorsey. He's a NorCal guy. He grew up in San Mateo, I believe.
Yeah, he did. Ken Dorsey, great guy, awesome quarterback, University of Miami. Didn't make it in the pros. He didn't have enough arm strength. Great mind.
He was not an athlete either. He was slow and skinny.
Slow and skinny, but a great leader. Great leader, sharp. The problem is this. He was the quarterback coach for Josh Allen for years while Daboll was there. Quarterback coaches and the quarterback are best buddies. You know that the quarterback coach is usually close in age to him. They kick it. They ham around. He's the guy that he shares most things with. He doesn't look at him as an authoritarian figure. Now he moves up to OC. The relationship doesn't change. So now you're dealing with Josh Allen has a lot more room to wiggle, whereas in Daboll was standing on his neck. And he was going through, hey, Josh, you got to do this. You got to do this. He was calling him out in film. Now, do you think that the same thing is going on now? I'm kind of thinking from the way that Josh Allen walks around with his chest puffed up, he kind of is the guy in Buffalo and in that locker room and in that facility. Sean McDermott comes from where? Carolina Panthers. Who was his quarterback when he was the defensive coordinator? Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, right? Yeah.
If it was up to McDermott, he would use Josh Allen just like Cam Newton. And now that he doesn't have Daboll as that buffer who can put in his ideas and preach his offensive philosophies, now it's pretty much Josh Allen go out there and win the game. That's not what you want. And he's going to see the same problems that Cam Newton saw. Too much usage. He's almost like the Luka Doncic of the NFL. Every time he runs the ball and does this crazy stuff and doing flips and jumping, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And it shows you how the media narratives work. Because just imagine other quarterbacks were doing this. They'd be on him. They'd be like, man, this guy's reckless. He's going to, hurt himself. But people are so in love with Josh Allen that they overlook a lot of his faults, man. So he's definitely missing Brian Daboll. He's a phenomenal talent, great player. I was a Josh Allen guy before most people were. I was on him at Wyoming. I won a lot of money on him, betting on him in college, man, and I knew he was going to be a good pro, but the problem has always been the same thing. Can you rein him in? He gets a little too hyper. He has a linebacker mentality playing quarterback, and that hasn't shown to be successful over the years because that's the same type of attitude that Cam also had. The only quarterback that we've seen win in that manner is Ben Roethlisberger. But who was his two coaches when he was winning? He had guys who were really strong authoritarians. I don't think Sean McDermott is holding Josh Allen accountable. I think Daboll did that. As far as the Dolphins, it makes me sick sometimes reading Twitter. Do you know people are saying if Mike McDaniel should get fired? It's absolutely ridiculous. If this guy goes on the market, every team in the NFL will be looking at him. This guy is one of the best. It's probably him and Shanahan that are the best play callers in the league, no doubt. Did you see some of those balls that the Waddle and Cheetah dropped in the first half? They were wide open. Great play calls, the same way like the 49ers where guys are wide open. The difference is the Dolphins receivers did not come through for their young quarterback. You got a rookie quarterback out here, a late rounder. You got to make these catches. In fact, you got to make outstanding catches because you guys are supposed to lead that offense as the receivers. You guys are getting all the money. You're the top dogs on the team. And they didn't play well until the second half. And by then, it was a little too late. Great job by the Dolphins defense creating turnovers. But most of all, I got from that game is Mike McDaniels is a hell of a coach. And now I see why Shanahan, being the greatest of play caller as he was, he trusted McDaniels to call his plays for him.
Yeah, so fantastic. Can't wait to see where that team goes next year as they continue to build.
They're keeping Tua. They need to trade for Lamar. Lamar's unhappy in Baltimore. We'll talk about that now. We're going into the Ravens and Bengals game.
Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I don't, and let's take football out of it, right? Let's just take the on the field play out of it. He's already had 3 concussions. Do you think that he's going to be able to make it through another season? I just think
believe in him.
It's irresponsible.
They believe in him. They believe in him.
They should believe in medical science because every single time you get a concussion, it's easier for you to get it another time, right? That's why back in the 50s, they had a term for those boxers. This is when they box like once a month. It's called punch drunk.
Punch drunk.
Because you've been knocked out week up, and every single time you get a concussion, it's easier for you to get knocked out, right?
Rocky Balboa. Remember how they portrayed Rocky? He was punch drunk. He had too many concussions. Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea that they think the Tua is going to make it through a full season. We just talked about how the defensive line is winning these battles with the O-line, right?
Yeah.
There's just stud athletes, right? On the defensive line. Almost every team's got, a Myles Garrett, right? A guy that's just unbelievable. I can't believe that they're doing that. So we'll see, though, right? We hear these rumors all the time. Right? I mean, just because they say it right now doesn't mean it's true. Hey, Tua's our guy till Lamar makes that phone call.
Right? I need Lamar over there, man. I need Lamar over there. I'd love to see what McDaniels could do with Lamar, Cheetah, and Waddle. That would be unbelievable. You could just plug and play their running backs, and they already have some good ones over there.
Their team totals would be like 37 every week.
For real. Like, for sure. Like, my God. Like, because you have to respect the RPO so much now with Lamar being able to pull, so your safeties have to come up, and now you got one-on-one with Waddle or Cheetah. And both of those guys are burning. So I'd love to see that. We don't know if we're going to see it, but I can tell you one thing. Lamar is not happy with Baltimore. It's some real beef going on in that locker room. Let's talk about that Ravens and Bengals game.
Yeah, so a lot of people tried to downgrade the Bengals because they didn't look good. And I know you like Miami, but I think the Ravens are a much better team at every single position except for the quarterback, right? And so the Cincinnati Bengals struggled against a division opponent that arguably is a top 5 defense in the league since they added Roquan Smith. I'm not
Queen and Roquan roaming together. Two of the best linebackers in the league.
I'm not downgrading Cincinnati like everybody else did. I thought that was a much more understandable than Josh Allen's turnovers against the Miami Dolphins. So I'm still high on the Bengals, and you talked about it. Something's going on, and you can tell by the way that Harbaugh addressed it. This thing seems like it's over, right? I mean, you talked to guys right before they're about to have a divorce. You could hear the difference when they talk about their girl. I mean, it's over. The girl talked about her husband. It's the same, man. They're done with each other. Something happened, and I think that it's basically Lamar said, "You didn't want to pay me. I went out and gave it my all. Now you're pushing me to get back on the field with this injury when I wasn't worth the money. Wait, I wasn't worth the money, but yet you didn't want to sacrifice for me. I want to sacrifice for you. I think it'll be nice for both of them to move on, and I can't wait to see them in another offense. So that's what's going on.
It's poetic justice. That whole game was poetic justice. What happened at the end of the game? Tyler Huntley goes rogue, tries to jump over and put the ball over the goal line from a 1.5 yards. He's off. He's way too far off. Sean Payton talked about that on the herd this week. He was way too far to try to jump in the air and put that ball over to break the plane. Ends up fumbling for making a bad decision. Cincinnati wins off of that fumble. What's the first thing the guys in the locker room are saying? And even Dobbins wouldn't actually say it to the media. Man, if Lamar would have been here, we would have won.
They were saying that before the game. Sammy Watkins said, "Man, I'm really disappointed because I think if Lamar played, we'd have a chance to win the Super Bowl."
There you go. So
The whole
now
locker room was it was
the
a
locker
mess
room is
because of that.
obviously divided. You obviously
Yeah.
got the guys who are loyal to Harbaugh, who have probably been with him a while, and like they're going to be probably more the veterans. And then the younger guys, we already talked about Lamar's popularity, not only with the Ravens, but in the league, period. He's one of the most loved guys in the league. So, man, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Baltimore. But to the game, Cincinnati survived this one. This is the one that every team that's on a Super Bowl run has. And you know what I'm talking about. We've seen it over the years, Spread, where they got by the skin of their teeth. The offense didn't win it. The defense came through. We talked about all year how situationally the Bengals are one of the best defenses in the league. They seem to always make plays when they count, especially in the second half. They come through. Now they got one for Joe after he's gotten so many for them. You best believe in Buffalo, that Bengals offense is going to be raring to go because they know they survived it. They survived what should have been a loss. Because if the Ravens score right there, they're late in the game on a whole touchdown. They hadn't done jack second half with the ball. So um, what I take from the game, two very good teams. Baltimore is going to have a difficult life if they choose to move on from Lamar. If they try to franchise him, I don't think Lamar plays. I think he sits out. So we're going to see some interesting things in the offseason with Baltimore as we see maybe their title run come to an end because I don't know what type of quarterback that they get to replace Lamar. I don't know if they try to make Anthony Brown the new Lamar or if they go free agency and change their whole offensive approach. But I can tell you one thing, they better get some receivers because they haven't given Lamar any receiver since he's been there as the quarterback. The Bengals are still a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion, and we'll talk about later about them going to Buffalo this week.
All right, Cowboys defeated the Bucks. The game really wasn't that exciting. I said it on the show. If Cowboys want to beat Tom Brady, you gotta kick his teeth in and make sure that he's yelling at his guys on the sideline, and they feel like they don't have a chance. They accomplished that. I'm gonna let you break that down. I gotta go grab something to get drink real quick. But
okay, cool.
I'll be right back.
It went like we expected, guys. We were on the Cowboys first half. We thought that they would come out very motivated with what just had happened in Washington with them being embarrassed. Dak played maybe the best playoff game of his career. I knew that Dak was meant business when I saw him hand the ball off to Tony Pollard, beat him to the hole, and lead block. I haven't seen Dak look that athletic and that fast in a long time. I'm really was thrilled with his play, and their defense came to play. As we said, Brady has a lot of problems. When he's dealing with teams that can rush four and get pressure. Also, Brady was halfway out the door, guys. He's ready to move on. He created the situation that he's in at Tampa Bay, but now he wants to get out of it. Today, the Bucks fired their offensive coordinator, but I don't think it's going to make a difference because I think that Brady's gone, and he was gone before this game started. And it's just time to move on. He did what he was supposed to do at Tampa Bay. He got him a Super Bowl, and things have kind of went downhill since when he wrestled power away from Bruce Arians. And you can never allow the players to run the organization. Anytime that happens, it might have some success briefly, but in the long run, your franchise is going to suffer. I know that their GM Light is really good friends with Brady. And that's probably why he fired Byron Leftwich this morning, thinking they might keep him. But I really highly doubt that Tom Brady comes back. And as we said in the preseason, Todd Bowles just isn't a good coach, good game manager. He's better as a coordinator.
Do you like Leftwich? Rumors are that
I like him a lot. I like him a lot. He's a great OC. He's going to do well. He's going to do well over there, especially under Tomlin, because Tomlin will help develop him. Because a lot of people don't know. Tomlin, Sean Payton, they're guys who coach every aspect of the team. They don't just coach one side of the ball. Because, see, what people don't know about Mike Tomlin is this. He cut his teeth as a defensive coordinator with Minnesota, and that's how he got his job. Mike Tomlin was a receiver in college. That's why the Steelers draft receivers so well since he's been there. He was one of the best small school receivers in the country. And when he initially came to the NFL, he was on the offensive side of the ball. So he knows the full parameters of football, from special teams, offense, and defense. Same as Harbaugh too. Harbaugh is one of those type of guys too who coaches all three, who are stopping in each room and talking to everybody. So Byron Leftwich is going to definitely benefit if he goes over to Pittsburgh under Tomlin.
All right, we'll see how that turns out. But let's go into this week's games. Can't wait to break these down with you. We've been doing well in the playoffs so far. We're going to keep it going. Great weekend overall. And hey, they did it smart. The game that I think I'm least interested in is first. All right, let's get this one out of the way. The Jaguars take on the Chiefs. And I'll be interested to see if we're opposite here. I ran my projections earlier in the week. I had the Chiefs covering this. Now it's moved to 9. When I did it, it was a little less. So now it's getting pretty close to my number. But my idea is, man, this Chiefs team is really good, and I feel like their defense is underrated. People think the Chiefs don't have a good defense. I think they've been playing really well as of late, and the Chiefs aren't going to give away a game like the Chargers did. What do you think, though? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Jaguars, do they have a chance to cover this?
They definitely have a chance to cover just because Doug Peterson and his sharpness as a coach. But I'll be playing the total on this game. I'll be going under 53. It's going to be real cold. And as you said, defense. Kansas City has a really good defense. The Jags defense isn't a slouch. These teams played a little bit earlier in the season, and it was a defensive slugfest, and it wasn't even cold. It was 27-17. So I think that it stays around that same number with the total, that they go under 53 easily. It's going to be wintry conditions. It's supposed to snow, and that has to affect the passing game. We know Mahomes is a great player, probably can play in any conditions, but he's still a Texas boy that played at a Texas school. Lawrence is a Southern boy. He played at Clemson, so Jacksonville and Kansas City are offenses that are not used to playing in these type of conditions, and both defenses are playing well. And on top of that, you have the tightness of the playoffs. As the division playoffs, everyone knows you're one game from having the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Everyone gets a little tighter, and the coaches are a little bit more conservative. So I think this game goes under 53 easily.
All right, so you like the under there.
Yep.
But that's rough, though, because the unders usually lead towards taking the points more. I'm leaning the Chiefs there, but of all the games, I'm
they can definitely they can win the same way they won earlier, 27-17, and we both win.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Next one, I think this one's fun. Giants and the Eagles. I think of the two dogs on Saturday, I give the Giants a better chance to cover. First of all, it's the divisional game. We talked about that, the familiarity, and the questions around Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts was 100%, we'd be laying it. This line would probably be higher. But the things that he said makes me think he's not 100%. The one that's really stuck out to me is he said, I played hurt before. What does that mean? That means you're not 100%. What are your thoughts here? How do you think the Eagles are going to do against the Giants?
I think the Giants could actually pull an outright upset, but we'll talk about it more. I'll give out a breakdown in the Ball and Parlay.
All right, we'll move that one for the Ball and Parlay. Let's move to Sunday. To me, the main event of the weekend kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. I got to make sure to be home for this one. I'm going to have the food cooked. I've done a workout in the morning, ready to sit down and enjoy the Cincinnati Bengals, who are in Buffalo taking on the Bills. So it's funny. All these shows, everyone I've talked to, most of us like the Bengals. But the line is moving in favor of the Buffalo Bills. This was 4.5 on Tuesday, 5-star. It's 5.5 now. This money line keeps going up. I'm glad I'm waiting because I'm going to get more and more. Anyone who's watched the show know that we love Cincinnati Bengals. This is their time to show it. The main things I like is I just think Joe Burrow's that guy. I trust him more in a close game. And I also love the adjustments to the defensive coordinator Dean Pease can make for the Cincinnati Bengals. Every single game, their defense looks better in the second half than the first half. Once again, man, I think Cincinnati gets a chance to prove what they were going to prove on that Monday night game that was, of course, called off, and for good reason. But now they're going to be out there on the field. Everything's going to get settled, and I'm on the Cincinnati side.
Yeah, I'll be with you. It won't be a big play because I'm so invested heavily with them with the plus 900 to win the AFC. I'm scared of this game, and the only reason I'm afraid of this game is because Cincinnati was beating Buffalo's head in before the unfortunate incident with Hamlin happened. So we know that Buffalo's going to come to play. Buffalo didn't play well last week, even though they won. They played horribly, but the Bengals didn't play well either. And we're going to be dealing with snow. It's going to be a snowy affair. Um, Up in upstate New York. This one is going to be difficult, man, because the reason the numbers going up because everyone's anticipating like the same thing as me. Most of the sharps are looking at the fact that Buffalo didn't play well and that they turned the ball over so much last week, and also that when they played Cincinnati, Cincinnati handled them so um, well at the beginning of the game, and also the motivation from Hamlin, and that being the game he got hurt and everything that the Bills will come out with their hair on fire when the emotions all settle down and everything, though, I still think the Bengals are the best team, and I would not be surprised at all if the Bengals win money line.
Yeah, I'm all over that Bengals money line. I'll probably put 2 units on the spread just to be safe, but I'm gonna have some money line there. I
Can you
think that
believe that? Think about this, Cincinnati, and it was such an unfortunate incident. No one, everyone understands why the game was canceled. The only team that really lost out the situation was Cincinnati, because if Cincinnati goes on to win that game, they're at home this game.
yeah, yeah.
So that maybe that'll be motivation for them, like you saw when they had to do the coin flip fake and kicked it. Joe Mixon kicked it in the end zone, so maybe that'll have them wired, knowing. And they're not a bad road team at all. In fact, a lot of people don't know the Bengals are the best team against the spread the last 2 seasons in the NFL, and it's not even close. They're 12-4-1 against the spread this year, and last year they were like 13-3. So they're an amazing team, man. So you definitely want to at least take the +5.5.
All right, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys in San Francisco taking on the Niners. This will be now the most times two teams have met up in the playoffs. This will be the 10th time the teams have played each other. This is a classic rivalry. When we were younger in the 90s, this was the game that determined who the NFL champion was, right? Because whoever won was going to win the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
So, harkens back to some classic games, even go back to Dwight Clark and the catch, in the 90s, they had great games against each other. Classic rivalry, reignited. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a classic game, man. The San Francisco 49ers are just rolling on all cylinders. And, hey, the Dallas Cowboys look great against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers played in one of the worst divisions, still were only 7-9, and never got anything going all year. The San Francisco 49ers, they played a pretty good Seattle team. I don't want to make too much of that win, but I mean, they've just been crushing over the last 5 games. They have the highest point differential in the NFL. I just think the San Francisco team is going to be too much. I think, Jerry Jones and the great story of the Dallas Cowboys ends this weekend.
We're on opposite sides. I'm all over the Cowboys.
Okay,
all right,
let us know why.
Soon as it went to +4, I jumped all over it, and pretty heavy too. This is a revenge game. You got the Cowboys facing a team that sent them home last season.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Dak had an opportunity to go win the game, and the play call with the quarterback draw used all the time up. This game is going to boil down to if the Cowboys can stop the run. If they can slow down that rushing attack, then they have a real chance, because Brock Purdy's miracle story is not going to continue forever. He's still a rookie, and the guys were running wide open. I know Shanahan's a great play caller, but he's dealing with a different type of defensive coordinator this week. Guess who the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys is?
Dan Quinn.
Who was Dan Quinn to Mike Shanahan for a couple years?
To Kyle Shanahan, he was his head coach.
And his OC was Kyle Shanahan. He's been in a lot of meetings. He knows a lot about his tendencies, and Dan Quinn is a sharp dude. So all of those guys running wide open that you saw last week, we're going to have to see if Brock Purdy can throw the ball on people who cover and throw the ball into windows and anticipate. He doesn't have a strong arm. The Cowboys have all types of playmakers on defense, and I expect their playmakers to show up in this game. This game is basically Dak against the 49ers defense against Brock Purdy against the Cowboys defense. I like that. We saw last week the 49ers secondary can be got. You can throw on him if he can get time. We have one of the better offensive lines in the league with the Cowboys when healthy. I think that they are able to get the ball to their playmakers. I expect a big game from Tony Pollard. And I really, really expect a big game from the Cowboys receiving core. Um, and I really think that the Cowboys go into San Francisco, and I don't only think that they cover the 4. I think they win.
Wow.
I Yeah, I think they win, man. I think they win. I don't trust rookie quarterbacks in a position like this. I'm not going to trust the rookie quarterback. I feel like now Dak is coming to what he knows is his window. He only has he's in his prime right now. He has to be thinking, man, how many more opportunities am I going to get at this? This is like his 5th playoff game, So I gotta believe that Dak is going to show up and continue his play, and most of all, I trust Dan Quinn to be able to slow down what the Niners do just enough to make it where the game's on Brock Purdy and all of that stuff he was doing last week against a trash Seattle defense. He's not going to do that against the Cowboys. I don't know if you looked at the last 7 games. All the games Purdy started, the only time he played a good defense was Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay was injury riddled when they played. They didn't have most of their starters. He hasn't played any defenses. This is going to be the first tenacious defense that he's going to match up against. The first defense he's going to match up against with a real defensive coordinator with schemes and ideas and the type of players like Michael Parsons. So I'm taking the Cowboys +4 in this game, and I'm also taking the money line.
All right, this one will be opposite. Sounds like we're aligned on most games, and we'll see who gets the bragging rights there. So
next week, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. But this is a great weekend, and I think that Sunday is just fantastic. I can't wait. Like I said,
fantastic. Sunday is going to be special,
I'm gonna do a
man.
fun workout in the morning, so I can just sit on the couch and enjoy the game.
I'm going to do a money line parlay, Bengals and Cowboys. You guys check that one out because it pays pretty good for the guys who like to make profit.
Yeah, I can imagine that's going to be pretty good. All right, let's move into the future. We're both too in pretty good positions here with our pick. I gave out Coco Gauff at +1,200. You gave it Arena Sabalenka at +750. Now Sabs is +600. Gauff is +1,000. You made a good point. You sending the notes over to me. Sabs has a much better path, right? Gauff, right? I mean, she's going to be playing Iga in a couple rounds if she makes it that far. So, that was a pick that I really loved before the draw came out. She got a tough draw, but if anyone in my mind can navigate that draw, it's Coco Gauff. So I'm still in on Coco. I'm loving that ticket, but let us know what you've seen with Arena Sabalenka.
Hey, I love the way Sab's playing, man. She's been dominant. And like we just said, she has a really great draw, man, and an opportunity to at least get to the finals. Hopefully she can get there and face Coco, and we're both good, so we'll see. But Coco has problems with Swiatek. I think Swiatek is going to have a problem with that young girl Bushka tonight. I don't think she loses, but I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than it is. I like that girl. She can play. And it's Sab is just in the right type of draw, man. She has some girls that she's facing that she's had a lot of success with down on her end of the bracket, man. She has Mertens next. Mertens does not play well. After that, she would play Benchik. She's too powerful for Benchik on hard court. And then after that,
on a quick hard court. If they're playing on mud in Miami, it might be a little different. But
it's too quick. Yeah. It's too quick. Yeah. It's too quick. And then from the other side of the draw, she'll probably be facing my girl Caro. Caro can play, and Caro has a little success against Sabs, but I still would like Sabs in the semifinals against Miss Garcia, because I think Garcia definitely beats Sigmund, and then she beats whoever wins out of Lynette and Alexandrova. So she definitely has the easy draw, but I'm a big Coco fan, not only of the player she is, but just the type of person and the family that she comes from. So I'm always rooting for her. She's been dominant, man. She hasn't lost a set, I don't think, at Auckland or this week. So she's been hot. I can't wait. Hopefully we get the matchup between her and Swiatek again, and we see if Coco can exercise some of those past demons against her.
Yeah, I think we're going to get it, and if she's able to pull that off, I'm going to be pretty happy about it. So Australian Open going well for us so far. A fun event, right? Right as the NBA is dialing down, I said, I don't want to go to bed yet. Let me see what's on Australian Open, of course.
I had a great day yesterday on the Australian Open. I told you I killed it, man. Lynette was able to win +152 for me, beating Contaved. And then also I had my guy from your area, Brooksby. Brooksby came through. We thought he was going to fall apart. He got it back together after serving for the set 3 times and ended up pulling out. And last night I was so angry I missed Perez Diaz against Potapova at plus 190. That was a layup, man. Potapova sucks. It's just that unfortunately Sloan doesn't practice anymore either. So I knew the shit. I knew. So I hate that I missed that. Did you see that Eddie Murray and Kokonas were still playing this morning? Like
Yeah, I know.
It was like, what was that, like a 6-hour match? What? How long were they playing? Oh my
Murray
God.
is a grinder, man. That guy just wants to grind.
Does he ever get tired? Like,
I know.
yeah, his physical stamina is unbelievable, man. Let's get to kick the damn extra point, man.
All right, take the stage. I mean, hey, and you know what? I thought this might be one of the last times we were going to be able to give this to this guy. They're bringing him back.
They extended him for another year.
You got to be kidding me.
And after he's fired, we're going to call this the Brandon Staley Award. We're going to change it. It's not going to be called kick the damn extra point anymore. This guy's up 27-0 and loses this game. And it's because everything boils down to his personality. Brandon Staley's too nice, man. He's too nice to be a head coach. I know you've had nice coaches before, like Bill Walsh and guys like that, but he had guy, he was just so smart everyone in the league, it didn't matter. Staley isn't smarter than everyone in the league like that to be able to just stand on the sideline. Did you see when Joey Bosa threw his helmet and got the penalty like an idiot? Those Bosa guys, boy, those brothers are out of control. They need to calm down. But Joey Bosa throws the helmet because he's pissed at the ref. Staley picks it up and hands it to him. He throws it down again. How disrespectful is that? How much respect do you have for your coach when you do things like that? And he has the perfect quarterback over there with Justin Herbert because they're both the same type of just California-minded guys. Like, yeah, man, it's cool. Like, we'll get them next time. You know, they're participant trophy type guys. And as long as they have that attitude, man, they're not going to win much in San Diego. The Chargers clearly had the better roster, as I talked about last week before that game started. The Chargers have one of the best rosters in the league. Jacksonville, not so much. You can barely name the players on Jacksonville. And the Chargers, just another notch in the belt for them. I need to give the kick the damn extra point award to the Spanos family for, keeping him and not firing this guy after that performance. But they claim they don't knee jerk. I guess that they're kind of changed their way of doing things after they screwed Schottenheimer after he went to like the AFC Championship game or something and still got fired. So Brandon Staley, man, that's not much we could say. Everyone knows you. Everyone sees everything that you're doing. He just fired Joe Lombardi as if it was his fault. And he said it was because they were 30th ranked in rushing. That had nothing to do with anything. It was just bad mismanagement, bad game management on your part. And we're going to name the award after you next year after you get fired. So kick the damn extra point, Brandon Staley.
Yeah, as a Raiders fan, I'm happy. Give him a 10-year extension.
Right, that's at least a 1-1 for the Raiders each year, right?
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the Ball and Parlay. What do you got for us?
I have two. The first one that I'm going to give out is the Giants. We just were speaking about that game. Man, I like the New York Giants because I love Brian Daboll, simple and plain. It's the typical Giants playoff team as we spoke about, and that's going to be a strong running back, solid quarterback, stout defense, and great coaches. Not only do they have Coach Daboll, they have probably the best DC in the league, Wink Martindale. Philly's quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is still recovering. As you just said, he's still hurt, man. He's not 100%, and he didn't look sharp last week. If he was playing like he was early in the year before the shoulder injury, then I would be on the Eagles. But I just trust what Daboll does, and I think they got a lot of confidence also with that Week 18 performance with their backups against the Eagles when the Eagles needed that game. I like everything they're doing right now. Daniel Jones looked like a different guy the last couple weeks, and especially last week. I like how he's stepping up. I think he has the confidence to pull this game out. I think Saquon Barkley will be the best player on the field. Division underdogs are now 21-12-1 against the spread when meeting for the third time in the playoffs after last week's results. The Giants are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games overall. They're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 games, spotting against the spread win. Also, the G-Men are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 versus the NFC. The Eagles, in contrast, man, they're 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games overall. 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 versus the NFC. And even more so, New York is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 meetings in Philadelphia. I think Dayball has the guys ready to play. I'm taking the Giants plus 7.5. And for a bonus, I'm going to throw out there Bernarda Parra. She's getting plus 5.5 tonight against Coco, which means that she would have to lose like maybe like 6-2. Yeah, I don't think that that's gonna happen. I don't think that she's gonna. I think that she even wins a set maybe. So I'm gonna take that plus 5.5 as a bonus with Bernarda Parra tonight. I like how she's been playing. She has to be confident against a younger player. She's a left-handed player, and Coco has had a lot of success against lefties. But I just think that game spread is a lot too much on there. But my main play, guys, is the Giants plus 7.5, and I also will be taking the Giants money line. It's upset weekend, man. We're about to get a lot of money lines and plus monies hit this weekend.
All right. Well, I played it safe, but I'm going to be on that money line too. Give us the team we've been riding all year. Give me Joe Cool, Joe Burrow. Love the kid. I love the way the defensive coordinator is going to be able to make adjustments. And I don't trust Buffalo Bills. Man, they look to be the best team in the league. A loss that I think really went undernoticed. Von Miller. Because he made that pass rush unstoppable. Now it's a little more one-dimensional. I know the Bengals have had problems with their line. But, hey, Brady showed what to do when you don't have a good line. You got to get that ball out quick. Burrow's a smart kid. He's going to be doing that. I trust Zach Taylor to drop some routes to get these guys some yard after the catch. They have plenty of weapons to keep pace. And at the end of the game, man, I'll take the moxie of Joe Burrow over almost anyone in this league. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals plus 5.5.
We love our Bengals, our Cincinnati Fighting Tigers with that baby LSU over there, man. Hey, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're here every Thursday after Super Bowl. We'll go back to a daily quick show, and we're going to focus on college basketball and the NBA. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Wagering Word. Anything for the people before we get out of this spread?
Nope. I'm looking forward to the games this weekend and just cashing more tickets.
Let's cash some more tickets. We got a phenomenal weekend coming up, and especially on Sunday when we got just some great matchups. We appreciate you guys again for tuning in. Follow my guy Spread Astaire. Follow me at 5 Star in Vegas. Spell out the 5. Best of luck to you all. We'll talk to you next Thursday.